Rotary Club, Makati Central, former president of RCMC, and the president of our foundation, a LaSalle graduate. The other one is Ateneo graduate. LaSalle graduate, also an entrepreneur, now a top-notch developer, real estate developer, and the chairman of Buklod Bayani, an organization that was created very recently here at the Manila Hotel, at the Presidential Suite. And now this Buklod Bayani is an emerging force that can help ARTA and the government. And I will not belabor the point and speak more about what Buklod Bayani is doing, but he's the chairman of Buklod Bayani, Bobby Alvarez. Let's give Bobby a big round of applause.
Good morning, Senator. You know, Senator Joey is a past president of our club. So is Secretary Ness. And of course, George Barcelon is our boss in PCCI. And he's going to be our kuya in Buklod Bayani because we're forming a coalition. And of course, Secretary Sani Coloma. We're hoping to make a dent to assist ARTA through Buklod Bayani. And we formed a coalition of businesses led by PCCI. And we want to add a stick, baton, hopefully to push businesses to coordinate with each other through government assistance, so that at the end of the day, we make business simple. We hope to assist Secretary Ness. This is a problem we all encounter every day. And as we see it, we're surprised. No? The international community wants to support us. In fact, yesterday, I got news. We already have the paper na Singapore wants to help. Oracle wants to help us. The documents are already with me. And what they want to do is assist us using technology. And they're willing to fund. So they're very enthusiastic about our effort. They want this to happen because everybody wants to make doing business easier. So we hope in this discussion we can shed light on how we can cooperate with government. Now that we don't see our friend Perez every day anymore, because normally we see each other every Friday. Anyway, good morning. Thank you po.
Sani, will you start the ball rolling?
Okay, I'll start with the number one customer of ARTA, which is the business sector. So I'd like to ask their leader. I think you're going to hold the Philippine Business Congress in the next few days, and this is also one of your topmost concern. So if we were to focus on this issue, what do you think is the biggest pain point of business with regard to doing business in government that could probably be addressed somehow by the ARTA?
I will not mince word. No? Talagang problema, local government. The bureaucracy side.
Yes. Local government.
Yes. The national government is too big a bite for us to take. No? So, but anyway, like what Director General Perez was sharing with us in many forums, we can see that there are many levels of government, municipalities, towns, cities, that has shown improvement in the processing or filing of business. And we would like to use that data to direct investors. If we were coming, these are the areas that it's very business friendly. You cannot tackle all na pareho lahat sila, they will improve. But the selected few that has worked with ARTA and have shown evidence the number of the ease of doing business, those are the areas that we will direct potential investors. You go there, and they have proven themselves in that ease of doing business. A lot of foreign investors, when they come, they also hear from their friends who are here in the Philippines. More often than not, you know how people are. They don't share the good news. They share the bad news muna. Okay? And we want to negate that. We want to negate that by having really hard facts from ARTA that certain areas are really more conducive for them to invest. We were just talking about earlier one of the executive order of the president, mainly focusing on the logistic issue of local governments having their own road tolling fees. Because this is spelled out in facts. There was a study made by the World Bank in collaboration with PCCI. They estimated ang cost ng logistic natin is almost 25% of the cost. You may be wondering why. But the cost starts from the very beginning. Pagdating ng material in customs, umpisa na yan. May congestion, may tracking fee, and all of this. And I did a comparative study with our ASEAN countries. Given the fact, of course, we are archipelagic. Okay, that adds to it. Diba? But nevertheless, yung mga ibang bansa, of course, Singapore being the smallest, the logistic cost is like less than double digit, single digit. Yung mga iba, 12 to 15%. Here we're 25 to 26%. That's why this falls, this reflects why we're not competitive. So that's one. But other than that, there are many areas that we in the private sectors, as I shared my thoughts with many businessmen and government, I said, don't look at ARTA as the policeman. They're not. They're out there to help. Okay? And they've gone through the last almost 2 years, and they have seen firsthand what can be done. And I think the agency has been proactive. Okay? And I don't think their intention is to be a policeman, no? But their intention is to help. And they can share best practices of other local government. And I think ARTA has been doing that. Definitely, the term of ARTA, 3 years, 3 years, what? Is it 3 years?
Coterminous.
With president. So that's up to 2028. So that's enough time to really make a transformation. Thank you.
Follow through lang. Local government, ang sabi ni President George, as a big bottleneck because there are many permits from zoning, from business permit, sanitary permit, building permit, fire permit. There are so many permits. Before a business can begin, you have to get all of these permits. And there are more permits and approvals by local government than the national government. Ilang percentage yun? Scale of 1 to 10. Ilan sa local, ilan sa national?
Wala kaming data, but certainly maraming permits that are being
May
required.
barangay clearance pa.
We'll have later on data specifically on the processing of permits for the shared passive telecommunications tower and construction of internet poles. The number of permits that we were able to reduce, documentary requirements, and we have that based on the figures given to us by the World Bank Group.
Secretary, yung starting a business, let's begin with that. Starting a business, no? Ilan ang processes na involve ang local government? Kung single proprietorship, you go to DTI. If you put up a corporation or partnership, you go to the Securities and Exchange Commission. That is to start a business. But there are so many permits before you can begin to operate. You know? So mas marami yung local issuances or permits or approvals rather than national. Sa national lang, siguro if you are going to apply for a mining permit, many business activities also require national approval, but they all start sa local, from the barangay clearance, no? So, I understand where President George is coming from. Eh, kung sa start pa lamang, may problema ba tayo sa SEC? Wala na.
Actually, to address, not just to share with you, in the recently concluded survey conducted by the Management Association of the Philippines, the number one concern among business leaders is about ease of doing business. And what is about ease of doing business? Is this trying to tell the investors, both existing and prospective, that if there's ease of doing business in a particular country, or LGU for that matter, investors will come in. And we have a solution to that. Itong Republic Act 11032, or the ease of doing business and efficient delivery of government services, is really a change maker law because it offers a solution to that perception about red tape, which involves burdensome regulations, cumbersome bureaucracy, long lines. There's a solution to that, specifically provided under the Republic Act 110, requiring all local government units to set up and operationalize an electronic business one-stop shop. And today's, providential for me. I always believe that things happen for a reason. I just came from Malabon. Today, they launched the electronic business one-stop. A city like Malabon is able to do it. And with that, they can process a new application for business permit in 1 day. Just maximum 1 day. Actually, sabi nyo kanina, 1 hour. No, 1 hour. In Valenzuela, they can do it in 30 minutes. Same goes with Navotas. Muntinlupa, 1 day. Manila, 1 day at the most 1 day. Marikina, also at the most 1 day. So, all of these LGUs, and we're talking of out of the 17 LGUs in Metro Manila, 9, and Malabon is number 9 in compliance with this requirement. Outside Metro Manila, we have recently commended Cagayan de Oro, then Lapu-Lapu City, Batangas City, and next week, we will be awarding a Port Plus municipality in Samar. So, yung reason about little resources, poor internet connection, is actually not a good excuse because if a Port Plus municipality in Samar can do it, then any LGU can do it. This is a matter of political will. Like Mayor of Manabon, Mayor Jenny Sandoval, she committed to me in April when they launched their taxpayer lounge in April, said, DG, within the year we will set up that. And today, we launched it. That's why I came from Malabon. And records show, no, by DILG, because we work this closely with the DILG and the DICT. For those LGUs that have set up and operationalized an EBOS, common denominator is increase in revenue collection, increase in registration. What is the reason? This has proven right our stand from the very beginning that the best way to battle red tape and corruption is through the use, streamline the process, and digitalize. EBOS, once they issue a business permit, this is a QR code readable business permit. So it's easier for one, not even the City Hall inspector, but any citizen can check the legitimacy of a business permit posted in the offices of the business by simply scanning it, and they will find out if that is illegally secured or not. So businessmen, knowing that they will be easily caught if they operate a business without a properly issued business permit, would voluntarily register their business and pay the right amount of revenue. This is really good for the country. If this will be followed up and all LGUs will comply, because the law requires all LGUs within 3 years from the effectivity of the law on June 17, 2018. Meaning that it expired already June 17, 2021. But we keep on reminding, kasi mandato po ng ARTA to from mandating, capacitating, enabling agencies, LGUs for that matter to comply with the law. And the investigating side and are legal to file charges for violation?
File charges before the ombudsman. And ARTA has no prosecutory power, just to make it very clear. Just to put in context everything that we are discussing, Secretary Nes Perez is not even 1 year yet in his job as Director General. By the way, we are being watched live stream, and other media people are just getting the link. They're watching, they're making the reports while listening to our discussion. So wala pang isang taon si Secretary Nes Perez, although ARTA is already 5 years old last June 2023. And the requirement of EBOS is that all local government units, cities and municipalities and provinces included, should have an EBOS, electronic business one-stop shop. That's EBOS. EBOS, electronic business one-stop shop. A 5 years name. How do you plan to speed it up, Secretary Nes Perez? Because we are convinced, based on the data that you presented, that when a city or a local government has EBOS, nag-i-increase yung revenue ng local government so that they don't become dependent on their national tax allocation. Number two, because more businesses are registered, job creation becomes faster, and more jobs will be made available to the people living in the city or municipality or province. So the question is, how do you intend to get all 1,494 municipalities and 145 cities and 82 provinces to have an EBOS?
We are closely working, collaborating with the DILG through Secretary Benhar Avalos and the DICT through Secretary Ivan Uy. LGUs have no excuse anymore. The DICT has developed a free system which they call Integrated Business Permitting and Licensing System. And this is being offered for free to all LGUs. And it's not as complicated as you can see from the screen to comply with the requirements of an EBOS. It is a portal where clients can access all the necessary services information online. Accepting online application through online electronic submission of application. There's a gateway facility linked to a courier service where applicants submit them online. Then even payments should be done online. Payment fees done on, even the printing of permits are being done online. LGU may claim they have no resources, but recently we have entered into a partnership with the Aboitiz Group and the Meralco Group. The Aboitiz Group, they have identified 10 local government units and 13 NGAs. For the LGUs, identifying them and equip them to comply with the requirement. Meralco donated 500 used computers, but used all, distributed to all the LGUs for them to use and be set up in their electronic business one-stop. Hindi lang po donation of hardware. We also provide training with the DICT, ARTA, and the DILG. Kung nagawa po ito ng 4th class municipality in Salon, but with the political group.
Can you share us a timeline working together with DILG, DICT, that maybe in the next 3 years, all 1,494 municipalities, 145 cities, and 82 provinces will have an EBOS? Because, again, to put in context, our ranking in ease of doing business is very low. And we already know that. I don't want to mention it anymore. But under your leadership, we are very hopeful that our standing or ranking will very much improve. And that's why the business sector, inspired by what you're doing, would like to extend its helping hand. But can you share us a target date? Because that is very very important. May tulong na sa business sector, and I'd like them to comment on this question and what they can do to help ARTA and DILG and DICT achieve a total e-bossification, if there's such a word, e-bossification of the entire Philippines, because tremendous ang impact nito on our economy.
Well, if the law provided for a 3-year period for all LGUs to comply, dapat they should already be compliant. But of course, we have to understand also the dynamics, the constraints, like they claim poor internet connection, lack of resources, but through the support of the private sector, we can do it within 1 year. If there's political will among the mayors and governors, they can do it within 1 year.
Will you file, I don't want you to sound mean, but there is a penalty clause under the ARTA law that those who violate the law can face prosecution, and cases can be filed before the ombudsman and even before the respective sanggunian of its province of its province, or before the office of the president for non-compliant cities and non-compliant provinces. And that's under the local government code, and this can be initiated by ARTA.
Under the ease of doing business law, very specific yung penalties for violating under Section 1. Unfortunately, the non-setting up of an e-boss is not one of those enumerated in the law. But perhaps with the support of an LGU, there should be an administrative sanction.
Yeah, I'm referring to both criminal and administrative. But administrative, it can be done.
Yes.
And there can be suspension, there can be other sanctions that can be imposed.
It can probably be part of their criteria for complying with JLG. What is this award being done?
SGLG.
SGLG award. Seal of good local government.
But that's the carrot. The stick is administrative penalty or sanction.
Well, when we public servants take our oath, we take our oath to obey the laws of the land, comply with the requirements, etc. And since this is a requirement by the law, and as a public servant, as an LGU head, you have took an oath of office to comply with the law. And one of the requirements of the law is for an LGU to set up and operationalize an electronic business transaction.
Pang-headline lang ito. Pang-headline. Itong tanong na ito.
If I may ask DG Perez, yung pong batas na yun, ano ba yung nire-require na level ng LGU? Yung bang munisipyo o syudad o barangay? Ano yung, what's the basic unit that is required to comply?
Yung city or municipality. City or municipality.
Pero yung city or municipality, they will accumulate all the data from the barangay, di ba? So, sa darating na 30 ng buwan, umpisa na nga ngayon yung sa web bukas, umpisa na yung kampanya, magkakaroon na naman ng karambola dyan sa barangay. Baka you could, just for the relevance of the topic, you could also comment on the importance of having competent barangay officials. That could affect this campaign for ease of doing business.
Tama ka doon sa akin. If you are to see this nation progress faster, it should start from the barangay level. We should be able to address concerns, sanitation, crime prevention, if our barangay leaders are more active in the campaign. And we should really solicit their support. And this is the next thing that ARTA will also be looking at. Because there are just too many agencies to cover. And if we start monitoring already the compliances by barangay, we will be overwhelmed. That's why we need the support of the chambers of commerce who are experiencing on the ground the difficulties. But fortunately, yung barangay clearance was already integrated doon sa business clearance. Hindi na po yung requirement. So, when they pay their business permit, they don't need to submit a barangay clearance. Kaya po lang natin na pabilis.
Senator Joey, may I add something to that? registering a company is one thing. I think there's a lot of improvement. But sustaining the business is the most important. We have been sharing some of the policies that maybe should be crafted. No? Now, wherein the local government wants to implement a new compliance, they should study the impact. Okay? At the same time, there are lots of CO, MO, whatever, no? That they should balance it. Now, if they introduce one, in other countries, they should take out two. Because otherwise, iipon, ang dami. Okay? And you lost out what are those CEO or MO is doing. And I think that should be a policy. Where if they want to introduce something new, they must look at what are the unnecessary ones that can be removed. And that would seem that, businessmen, as I told the BIR, because PCCI is the lead organization in getting the multi-sectoral support for BIR. And I told Commissioner Joe Lumagi and my deputies, businessmen are, of course, they're businessmen. They want to provide products and services, and they put in good money and time. They don't have any intention of really breaking the law. But if the law is crafted in such a way that makes it difficult for them, like what you said earlier, DG Perez, it takes two to tango. Okay? So the law, I would think, why people are more attracted to go to other ASEAN countries is the law is there, and there is no, the law is implemented verbatim, but it's there, no? Not a law interpreted based on tuition. Intuition, yeah. So, madalas intuition eh. So, these are the things I think are on the policy making wise, encourage the local government. One way of lessening the bureaucracy is to really balance it. No? If you need one that is necessary, you must look at what can be removed. We don't want also ARTA to be too revenue-centric. If we purely base it on revenue, mahirap din. There are other factors contributing to the ease of doing business. And this is where we feel that we have that visibility and we share it with ARTA. And I'm glad that they're very open to our suggestions, wherein we need to work in unison. The various champions of local government and municipalities working with ARTA are really the one that we should highlight. And this is something, that's why sometimes I wonder why the chambers are so good. You're the most important to talk about. Then, of course, it's obvious now. It shows that the ease of doing business is on top of mind of everybody. But starting a business is one thing. Sustaining it is the most important thing. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Let me comment on that. George rightly and properly expressed an issue about over-regulations, overlapping regulations. Fortunately, ARTA also has that mandate of regulatory review, that before any agency, regulatory agency for that matter, can issue or implement a regulation, that they should be subjected to a system which we call regulatory impact assessment, or RIA, ensuring that any regulation should be subjected to proper consultation, and that it should not be causing undue regulatory burden or cost, not only to the agency but to the transacting public. As you can see from the screen, meron po tayong na-develop na regulatory impact assessment manual to guide all covered agencies. And this was developed at practically no financial cost to the government because we were able to get it through the technical assistance of the U.S. Agency for International Development. Now, that work, that manual, before it will take 2 to 2.5 months to train agencies to comply with the law. We even simplified it with the assistance of the United Kingdom government through a regulatory impact assessment workbook, reducing the training period from 2 to 2.5 months to just 2 to 3 days. And we also recently launched this and really thank both the US and the UK government to supporting ARTA. This regulatory impact assessment is very successful. Like we have already trained 236 agencies and 1,793 civil servants. And to complement this program is the system also using the digital platform, which we call the Philippine Business Regulations Information System, that we will be launching sometime November, together with the anti-red tape electronic management information system that also is using the digital platform to monitor the compliances of agencies with the Citizens Charter. All of this, we use the digital platform. At masisimple, anybody who has access to that system will be able to know whether a particular regulation is burdensome, subjected to proper consultation, and has undergone regulatory impact assessment manual. Recently, the PCCI, George, they raised an issue about SEC, but I leave it to George to expound.
Before George expounds on that point, we talked about local government and its role in easing in doing business and efficient government services delivery. Okay, so one level of government, we have to make it work properly, so business is done easily and government service is delivered fast and efficiently. How about the national government? You're also seriously and closely looking into the processes of the national government?
Yes, Joey. In fact, we conduct this business process mapping of all covered in to ensure that the processes are streamlined and together with the DICT digitalized. The directive of the President recently is for all government processes to be adopting a single online system. To comply with the requirement, the directive that all processes must be streamlined and digitalized. And the DICT has already developed a system. They have launched it recently, yung ego.ph. This will complement yung EBOS naman, that IBPRS or Integrated Business Permitting and Licensing System that they have developed. Recently also the President has signed an executive order on Green Lane for big ticket investment. Again, through the Board of Investment, DTI, this will also be using a business one-stop. Digital and DICT has already developed that system. So we're really working together under a whole of government approach, in fact, whole of society approach or whole of nation approach. Business sector and government working together. This is just a matter of implementation. Alam niyo, Johannes, professor, no? Ang problema sa Pilipinas, we have really good regulations, good
laws.
plans, good laws. It's the implementation that we really...
So, Secretary Nes, we hardly see you, Bobby and I hardly see you. Before we see you almost every week. So, does ARTA have the manpower to carry out its mandate? How can we multiply you so that we also see you at least once a month, and let others represent you? Today, this lunch, you have another meeting. After the lunch meeting, you have another meeting. So you might get old fast if you continue doing things in this fashion. So, Bobby, the question is, this Buklod Bayani that you're chairman of, how can this Buklod Bayani help multiply Nes Perez in terms of reaching out, communicating to all nook and cranny of the country, to all the municipalities and cities, so that this knowledge and these things about ARTA and what local governments must be doing to improve its processes can be done in the soonest possible time.
Yeah, thank you, Secretary Joey. Yeah, in our last meeting, we had a stakeholders meeting of Buklod Bayani. And one of the things we noticed is that we can put a portal, a telephone number which businesses can ask assistance so that we can coordinate why certain things are taking long. In fact, there's technology available which you put in cars to track whether the car is in this place or in that place. And we can put this tracking device in a document and see whether the document is staying long in a certain area. On the other hand, we also notice that in communities, engaging them in a conversation about issues changes their perspective and how things should be done. For many of us, we think that we cannot do anything. If things are bad, it's just the way it is. It's bad. But in an experiment that we did, a business in a local community that has problems thought that maybe if he engages the community interacting with them, maybe things can change. There was a lot of hold-upping, there was a lot of crime in the area. What was realized over time was that if you have regular meetings with the community and let them know what's going on, they realize the solution because the business is inputting the solution to them. And in this experiment, we saw that, number one, they were able to solve crime because they became more vigilant. Number two, they realized that instead of traveling far, go to work to a far place, they can stay there, work nearer, study nearer, that there are government services like free seedlings, free medicinal plants that they can plant in their backyards so that they can save on money. They also realized that they can influence government to give them lights in their streets and take their trash. And during the interim, they were not looking at it that way at that time. But they together, when they work together and when they ask for help from local government responds well when it's a community asking for help. So we want to put these platforms using business as the lead. And we're putting an awards program to recognize them. Hopefully the President will indulge giving these awards. We call it Buklod Bayani. Looking at the distance travel, meaning where were you before and where are you today? The extent of what you did as a result of realizing that you can do something about it. There are many things we can do. If replicating, your question is replicating Secretary Nes, there are a lot of good people outside that will happily volunteer their time as Rotarians, as JCs.
As part of a speaker's bureau, for example,
Could be
accredited by ARTA, so that
Yes.
this can be explained to all municipalities what ARTA is doing. When ARTA is not available, the accredited member of the speaker's bureau can explain using the slides that ARTA has prepared. But they have to be accredited. They have to be trained so that the matters that ARTA wants to communicate to its clientele is communicated. So do you intend to organize nationwide, Bobby, this Buklod Bayani so that PCCI, for example, chapter in this place together with the other business organization or business enterprises and other NGOs, they can get together to complement what ARTA is doing in that place?
Yes, Sen. In fact, PCCI already made a board approval to adopt the program and provide office space for Buklod as the big brother of the program.
Okay.
So we're hoping that in the next months or weeks, hopefully we can finalize our arrangement with government wherein we can work together, because while we do this, we need to echo the problems to government, and there has to be some type of formal arrangement so that they know that if there's a problem, they have to address it. President George is well aware of all of this, and I am sure that it is something helpful to not only to business but to the community.
Yes, and I think you should bring in also major organizations like Manila Bulletin, because we are always on the lookout for opportunities to inform the public of what you're doing. And we have our social media channels as well. I think one of our supporters here is the kapisana ng mga social media broadcasters. They could have a regular publication or airing of all of these concerns in their own channels.
Tama ka dun, Sandy. No? Really, problems arise because of miscommunication. We really need to change this perception. We know that the Philippines is ranked to be having a low in the corruption perception index. As it says, it's a perception. To be able to change that perception, we need the support of all sectors, from media, for the private sector, to help us communicate all these programs, initiatives that we're doing. And in fact, yung meeting sinabi ni George kanina, the foreign chambers of commerce are upbeat about investing in the country. If we are only able to convince them that in the Philippines, we are ready for ease of doing business. And we have to communicate this. We need an organization like the Buklod Bayani for you to help ARTA. ARTA only has 221 plantilla approved positions by the TPM. We're complemented by a contract of service staff. We have 278 staff distributed all over the country with 8 regional offices composed of 7 personnel. This is not enough. That's why we need the private sector, the chambers of commerce, to help us communicate to the people that we have this law, a change-maker law, that is aimed to improve bureaucratic efficiency as directed by the President under the 8-point socio-economic agenda. All of these are designed to promote the Philippines as being ready for ease of doing business.
Siguro, I will just fortify what you just said. What we need to do is to increase our visibility in social media by providing accurate and timely information. Because so many Filipinos have smartphones that they carry. They also access from Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and now TikTok. The online platforms are the more common avenues of access to information. So even mainstream media organizations like the Manila Bulletin are using social media channels to be able to reach our people. And we just have to be where they are. We cannot be on an ivory tower and say, punta kayo dito. No? We have to reach out. And I am elated by the disclosure by President George of PCCI that they're focusing on the good news. The LGUs that have the best track record. Because if we focus on the good news, we don't only inform, we also inspire. And as people get inspired, in a way we're already empowering them to do something for the benefit of the community.
Senator, may I add to what Professor Sani just shared? I think it's really important to concentrate on the good news, and we're willing to take on what you offered. That the media is an important player. No? We would encourage that we be given a column wherein we will write about success stories of companies, be it local or foreign, para man-disseminate natin. Kasi minsan negative stories. Normally takes the highlight. Let's highlight on the good news, on the successes, so that these companies will also share their experience, and that is what. There's no better promoter if it's coming from them, especially if it's a foreign country. Halimbawa, it's a German company, and they would talk highly of their business, their experience here. That will be picked up. So, thank you for that.
Consider it done, President George.
Thank you very much.
following on that, no less than the Korean ambassador has
Yeah.
said in his column good words about ARTA, positive. The Korean ambassador, the Australian ambassador, also very upbeat about the things that we're doing. So let's do it. Our ambassadors are promoting the Philippines.
Germany, in our news today, it's Germany that has been bringing in the highest.
There was just a trade mission that came over, and we met with them, and that was our message. No? I said that Germany is one of the big FDI here, and I shared with them. I said maybe you're not aware of it, but the Lufthansa, the maintenance group, malaki yun, 3,800 workers. Yeah, and they're here, and they spoke highly of our Filipino engineers. See? And that's where I'm telling them that it's sometimes our shortcoming not to promote, not to highlight this. It's about time we highlight it. No? And I think that seems to be the narrative of the economic team coming from the president. Na medyo kulang yung natin eh. We have a lot of upside, but we're not. That's why the Buklod Bayani is there to really look at the gaps, okay, and how to fill that gaps, through communication between government, private sector, and the business establishment. And for all intent and purposes, is that we are all for one, for the development of our country. Okay, so I think, I'm sure that the government, the people in authority can see that this is something that should take traction para ma-sustain natin. Thank you.
There is this misconception that good news is not sexy. So how to make good news controversial and sexy, that will be a challenge to the creative minds of the people in the media.
Sabi po sa Manila Bulletin, hindi kami naniniwala dyan. Because our mantra is inform, inspire, and empower. We believe that it's a greater force than the opposite.
So that's, as I said, it's a misconception. The traditional minds in number one is entertainment daw, number one. Number two is scandal.
Sa showbiz lang okay.
Sa scandal, no? Yun ang sinasabi. But if you highlight the good news and present it in a very creative way, for example, investments. Government invests and creates jobs. The private sector, particularly business, invests and creates jobs. So if both government and the business sector joining hands and make doing business easy and government services are delivered effectively, then in less than a decade, I think we can turn this country around, and perception will change. Our ranking will be higher, and corruption perception index will be much better. We will be ranking higher there. So here we are. We are your fans, Secretary Ines. We want you to succeed. We know you. You're very passionate about your work as a Director General, and we will pray for you. And the business sector are here, very much willing and ready to extend their helping hand to you. And we can dream the impossible dream and reach the unreachable star, Secretary Ines.
Thank you so much, Senator Joey. It's really very inspiring, encouraging for us at the Anti-Corruption Authority, being supported by really the private sector, by the media. Di po, I can attest, bulletin, si Bernie Masikat talagang has really good words for ARTA. Very positive po yung papasalamat talaga tayo. And siguro we should have more of this. We should invite really the media, all the print, broadcast, TV, to really unite, help one another, and bring this country up to where it should belong. Because I've been meeting with chambers of commerce, with foreign chambers of commerce, Malaysia Chamber of Commerce, German Chamber, European Chamber, American, all of them are upbeat about the Philippines. So we should take advantage of this, and for us, time is of the essence. We should act with urgency because we really live in a highly volatile, competitive world, complex, etc. Otherwise, we'll be going to other countries like what we've experienced before, but it's never too late.
Senator Joey, may I chime into that? Next week, the PCCI will be hosting the 49th Philippine Business Conference. And I'm sure you know where the venue is. No?
Thank you very much.
But having said that, the theme for our business conference is Vision 2050. Okay. When you talk about 2050, parang malayo pa yun. That's 27 years away from now. Of course, we will still be around. Don't worry.
We will live to be 110.
But the fact is, we have a fairly big population. In ASEAN, we're number 2, okay, 115. Okay? And the demographic dividend for us is that we are a young population, 25. While all the other countries, Europe, 42, 43. Thailand, malapit na yung 40. China is high 30s. Okay? The only 2 countries, aside from the African nation, is Indonesia and Philippines. In 2050, mind you, before I said by that time, what would be the average age of our general population? Alam mo, 30 years old. Because we have this opening wherein our young, they are productive in 2 ways. Sa economic and sa procreation. Both sides. So, can you imagine, by that time, ang average is natin 30 million. 30 years of age. And our population should be about 150 million. So, I've been telling our European friends, I said, look, don't pirate our people to go there to work. You come and invest here. Okay? Yeah, even with our MOU with the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, which we signed last July. It's the first time the U.S. Chamber of Commerce signed with any business organization here. And we're just drafting a collaboration. And when I read it, I told my friend, Mr. Boyer, it seems like you want us to look for qualified people to send to your country. I said, that's not how we want it. We want to invest in our people for the necessary skill sets for you to come and invest. That's why he will be coming to join the Philippine Business Conference. And our objective is those companies relocating out of China should really seriously look in our country, the Philippines. They should give priority to our country. So I'm just sharing with you that we're upbeat about the country, okay? And when you have the multiple sectors helping out, that's the formula for success. Thank you.
George, we have a roadmap. Hindi yung 2050, ambition natin 2040. That by year 2040, Filipinos should enjoy a strongly rooted, comfortable, and secure life. And the President has laid out, under the Philippine Development Plan 2023-2028, and ARTA has aligned with that. Meron po kami roadmap with ease of doing business. I hope we can share that with the people here. Ito po yung roadmap, 6-year change management program. 2023, we shall have formed the foundational structure and resources necessary for the implementation of this ease of doing business. Next year, we will be focusing on managing conflicts, facilitating discussion. Ito po ginagawa natin. Advocating for necessary changes across government. 2025 to 2027, there should be greater cooperation and alignment among government agencies. Like this, what we're doing, public-private partnership, collaborative support of the ease of doing business. So that by year 2027 to 2028, the ease of doing business initiatives are fully operationalized, fostering a culture of continuous improvement. So we can attain this without waiting for 2040 to happen. We will do it by 2028.
I think we converge
Yes, sir.
the overarching objectives. No? For in PCCI, I've coined the 6H, which is easy to remember. First H is health. Second H is wait a minute. First H is hunger. Yung program mo. Second H is health. Third H is housing. Fourth H is human skill, empowerment, development. Fifth H is human dignity. Okay, 5 na yun. Ang pangalim, happiness index. Okay? So once you combine all the 6, and with what is being planned by ARTA and the rest, you cannot go wrong. I mean, you have that priority. Diba? Hunger, health, housing, human skills, human dignity. Ibig sabihin, may trabaho sila, gainfully employed, and they enjoy the social services of the country, and that would lead to a higher, actually yung happiness index natin mataas na but we can move it higher.
I'm glad you are framing it that way, no? And I have ito long-term ano naman to, no? And just as an aside, yung pangalan kasi says a lot, no? Yung pangalan ng inyong ahensya, anti, it is not a positive term. Maganda yung sinabi ni George, happiness yung, baka we can, kasi we have a governance commission tayo, di ba? Baka there's a way, no? Pwede naman i-amend yung law to positivize the name. Kasi even the approach suggested by George is focusing on best practices. We are not anymore, sige, yung mga ayaw pang makisama, may iwanan na lang sila, kumbaga, no? And we will focus our energies on edifying, on praising, and honoring the good performers.
Maybe
something to think about lang. Yes.
Maybe yung ease of doing business is already incorporated in efficient government services delivery. That's the more encompassing. Yung ease of doing business is a part of it, di ba? So if you drop the word anti, it should be ease of doing business authority or efficient delivery of government services authority. Positive. Ano? Yeah. Okay, anyway, the food for thought. The food for thought for the legislators. So, Sunny, I think we have covered a lot of areas. You see, hearing talks, discussion like this is sexy. Meaning it's
very stimulating.
Very stimulating. Very stimulating. And very inspiring. We are able to inform, we are able to inspire, and then last is to empower. That will be the result. And the last is happiness. Happiness. Okay, maraming salamat.
Salamat sa inyo lahat.
And then let us hear from the Secretary General of KSM-BPI.
Thank you very much, Senator. Maybe I rise on behalf of the kapisanan ng mga social media broadcasters ng Pilipinas Incorporated and being supported by Secretary Joey Lina and Secretary Sonny Coloma. Maybe we at the KSM-BPI can make good news sexy.
Stimulating.
Stimulating.
Otherwise, you might be charging yourself.
Yes. And as we carry this KAPIHAN sa Manila Hotel, please be informed, Secretary, that we are now live and being covered live, and also we have many bloggers with us now. Monitoring. And after this, we will have blogs after this. And my question is, the Kapisanan was organized in 2017 by Dr. Mike Aragon. Our president now is a doctor lawyer. He is Attorney Leo Olarte. And one of the members of our Board of Trustees is Senator Joey Lina. being supported by Secretary Sunny Coloma. And we have now more or less 2,000 members nationwide. And we have a memorandum of agreement with the MTRCB, also with the University of Makati, also with the TESDA for our training modules for responsible blogging, 7 days program. And as we talk, we have now a tripartite agreement with the COMELEC as a citizens arm with the COMELEC, KSF BPI, and the Cybercrime Investigation and Coordinating Center. My question is, Secretary, we are very much willing to join you and be with you as your force multiplier, your Speaker's Bureau, and disseminate this good news. I am an entrepreneur myself. I have 4 companies, and ARTA has been a very big help to my ease of doing business.
You need a memorandum of agreement?
Yes.
You want
That's
to
not a
sign?
question anymore, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much.
It's done.
It's
So,
done.
we will.
Of course, sir.
Thank
Let's
you
do
very
it.
much,
Salamat po, salamat.
Thank you very much.
Alright, salamat.
Thank you.
Maraming salamat.
Thank you.
Ay, nako, napakaganda itong ating usapan, and maraming salamat, Secretary Nes Perez. Let's give him a big round of applause. Keep up the good work. Keep up the good work. That was the title of my television program years back. Keep up the good work. So, keep up the good work, Secretary Nes. President George, maraming salamat. You're also an inspiration to us, especially in the business sector. And Bobby Alvarez, Chairman of Buklod, Bayani, maraming salamat sa panahon na nilagi mo rito.
Thank you. Maraming po salamat sa inyong pagdalo.
Salamat.
Onward.
Yes.
Okay.
Onward.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You should have more.